Hello, boys and girls. We are going to review decimal place value. This is a topic that you learned at the beginning of the year, and we're going to take this week to review those skills. Before we get into that, I want to review this problem from last week. Last week, we learned what the volume of a rectangular prism is and how to find the volume of a rectangular prism. This is the last question on your Google form. A majority of you answered it incorrectly, and I have a few ideas about why I think you answered it incorrectly. First of all, they're giving us the length, the width, and the height, but the length, the width, and the height are given showing these cubes. So we have to think about it as counting the cubes. On this slide, if you see, I count the cubes for my width. It's 4 because I count 1, 2, 3, and then there's a cube behind the cube where my pointer is. And that counts as my 4th cube for my width. Then that cube that's under this cube again, that's under my pointer, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my length. And then my height is 1, 2, 3 cubes. So when I multiply all my cubic units, I get 60 cubes would fit in this rectangular prism. If we were in the classroom, I would be able to demonstrate this by physically building this rectangular prism with cubes, but unfortunately with virtual learning, I can't do that. Okay, let's now go to decimal place value. So as you see my pointer, we have the hundreds place, the tens place, and the ones place. Those are all whole numbers. Then we have the decimal point. When we say a number, we say and as the decimal place. So then after the decimal place comes tenths, hundredths, and then thousandths. The THS goes on the end of each one, and they go from largest, closest to the decimal point, to smallest gets further away. So this number we would read as 786 and 432 thousandths. You read the place value of the last digit in the decimal place. Now here, this is a visual representation of decimal place values using fractions. So instead of writing tenths, we are showing 1/10. Instead of writing hundredths, we are showing 100th. And instead of writing thousandths, we are showing 1,000th. Here's a number in expanded form, and we have to go from expanded form to standard form. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply each section. So if you notice my pointer here, I have 3 times 100, I get 300. 7 times 10, 70. 8 times 1, 8. Here's where it gets tricky. 2 times 1/10, meaning I have 2 1/10ths, it's going to be 2 tenths. 4 times 100th, I'm going to have 4 hundredths. And when I add all of that up, my grand total is 378 and 24 thousandths. Here we are comparing decimals. It's really important when we are comparing decimals that we line up the decimal places. Then we go from left to right, crossing out the numbers that are the same. So here we have 729 and 97 hundredths, and our next number is 729 and 79 hundredths. So we see the whole numbers are the same, 729. Now we're comparing decimals. Well, if I go to my tenths place, 9 is greater than 7, so 729 and 97 hundredths is larger. So the greater than sign, remember from your younger grades, the alligator wants to eat the bigger number. The last thing we are going to go over is rounding decimals. So when we are rounding decimals, we look at the underlined value is the value that we're rounding to. So if you notice in our first example, we're rounding to the hundredths place. So the 1 is underlined. The 9, the number next door, tells the underlined number what to do. If it's 5 and above, we round up. If it's 4 and below, it stays the same. Here, 9 is above 5, so it's going to tell the 1 to move up to a 2.